Ephesians chapter 3. And if you'd notice with me, beginning at verse 14. You'll find these words there. For this cause I bow my knees unto the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, of whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named, that he would grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man. I want you to ask that person next to you, how is your inner man? There's no doubt that moments of stress and strain often place a heavy demand on the believer's strength, on the believer's stamina and spirituality. It is therefore imperative that we as believers know how to protect and guard our minds and our spirit against dangerous, debilitating, and destructive forces that seek to attack us, to destroy us, especially when we are most vulnerable in difficult times. Moreover, sometimes who you are, what you do, and what you stand for will leave you spiritually drained, mentally anguished, physically exhausted, socially isolated, politically excluded, and personally defeated. And sometimes just trying to do the right thing can be a painful experience. I wish I had a witness here. And I've discovered that the greater the stress, the greater the need for us to renew, to recover, and to replenish your spirit. Now, the source that protects us and renews our spirit does not come from without, but it comes from within. It is the Spirit of God in you that empowers you to live on, to keep on, to push on, to press on, to move on, to strive on, to struggle on, and to fight on in spite of the difficult times. There is no one who knew the importance of the need to be inwardly renewed and replenished as did the Apostle Paul. And in one of his 3 prison letters, Paul writes to the Christians there at Ephesus, and from what should have been a discouraging situation, especially for him, instead his letters were always positive. In reality, Paul should have been demoralized, yet he encourages others to stay strong, be secure, and to remain sincere. He assures the church that his imprisonment may have interrupted his ministry, but he is not depressed. He is not broken, and he is not in despair. In spite of his imprisonment, he writes that he is yet strong and not weak. I wonder if there's anybody here tonight who can declare that I'm yet strong and not weak. I'm yet self-determined and not self-defeated. I'm yet empowered and not erased. I'm yet hopeful and not helpless. I'm yet victorious and not a victim. Is there anybody in here tonight that can say tonight that I'm yet strong and not weak? I don't know how you feel about it, but I believe that Paul was living off the words of Christ that declared, greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. To be spiritual is to live with the awareness that God's active presence is there in you, with you, and working for you. One of America's greatest theologians, the late Howard Thurman, once said that I'm determined to live the outer life from the inner sanctuary. In other words, I'm determined to live from the inside out. And let me just say that too many of us live from the outside in. Lord, help me a little while. We depend on things to define us. We depend on folk to make us who we are. And many times folk need all kinds of stuff just to feel like they somebody. But I came to serve notice tonight that God has already given you the right stuff, and it's already in you. It has just got to come out of you, and not for your glory, but for his glory. And when you live your life in the Spirit, you'll unfold unto yourself each and every day. When you live from within, it is the Spirit of God that will empower you, especially when your back is up against the wall. I wish I had some real folk in here to declare that sometimes, even though I am a Christian, I feel like my back is up against the wall. But it is the Spirit that is within me that pushes me away from that wall and tells me to go on, run on, move on, shout on, praise on. I wish I had somebody who knew what I was talking about. What it will do is it will keep you sane, keep you from going crazy. It'll help you to hold on to your identity, and it will help you affirm your integrity. Because let me park right here and say that everybody in the church ain't got no integrity. We don't even like to talk about character no more. But the Spirit of God in you ought to help you affirm your integrity. Some stuff I just ain't going to do. Y'all going to make me preach. Some places I just ain't going to go. Some stuff you ain't going to get me to have no conversation with you about. Because I need to affirm my integrity and my character. It is the Spirit of God that will insist that God has a divine intent for you that cannot be defeated. It is the Spirit that will remind you that there is a holy place for you. That will remind you that there is a place that no oppressive system, no street giants, no double-talking politicians, no hateful supervisors, no misguided law enforcement agents or other government officials, no greedy, hypocritical, or deceptive church folk, no neighborhood thugs will be able to keep you from what God has for you, because if God has it for you, it is for you. Look at somebody and say, what God has for you, it is for you. Quit worrying about what folks think. You don't need folks' approval. You do what the Lord said and live from the inside out. So that every frustration, every disappointment, and seemingly every failure is not final. It is not fixed or finished. Because when God gets ready to move, change will happen. And nobody on earth or no devil in hell can stop it. Paul experienced that and saw God's power operating in an inner sanctuary. And he was trying to inspire personal renewal and social transformation. That's why it's necessary to be able and to know how to tap into your inner spirit in order to renew your own self. Can I park right here one more time? You got to learn to renew your own self. You got to stop waiting on somebody to pat you on the back and tell you you're all right. But you got to renew your own self. Encourage your own self. Pat yourself on the back and say, I am somebody. I am the gifted of God. I am the anointed of God. I am God's child. I wish I had somebody. Live from the inside out. I got a couple things to point out and I'm going to be done. First of all, it is the source of our inner life. It is also the source of our freedom. We find that our freedom when we realize the integrity of our inner life. The inner sanctuary gives us a place to stand, to protect ourselves from the ravages that are afflicted upon the human spirit by the brutalities of life. Our freedom is not dependent upon external circumstances, such as laws and bylaws and rights and material things. And we have to always remember that laws and legislation does not make you free. But our freedom is determined by the Spirit of God that lives on the inside of you. For history has proved to us that you may be a slave legally and can be free in your spirit. And you can be legally free and still be a slave in your mind. But freedom is an inner reality. Look at somebody and say, live from the inside out.